Welcome to today's SeafoodNews.com video, sponsored by the Alaska Seafood Marketing Institute.
A recent story on the Wall Street investor assault on Darden and the spin-off of Red Lobster really made me think about something that's important to the seafood industry, and that is the importance of companies that provide leadership. When you look around the industry, there are certain companies that basically set the pace or set the tone for things like quality standards, specifications, environmental sustainability requirements, the way that they treat other companies in their business dealings. And anybody who's been in the seafood industry over time knows the companies that they've really had good success and long-term relationships with. And sure, I'll name a few names. I mean, companies like Highliner, like Trident, like Pacific Seafoods, like Darden, like Marine Harvest, all exhibit this tendency to support the overall industry. Sanford in New Zealand, another company in that respect. These companies have something in common, which is they support the industry as well as they support themselves. And I'd like to look more closely at Darden. Darden has really played a key role in the seafood industry for many, many years as being the largest purchaser of a number of commodities, whether it's lobster or shrimp or other items. And as the largest purchaser, they have traditionally followed a strategy that maintaining supply and maintaining sort of the successful business conditions among suppliers is in fact essential to them getting the long-term reliable supply of products that they need. And so, for example, they were among the first to adopt things like best aquaculture practices for their shrimp supplies. They've also, of course, are a tough purchaser, and they've moved away from products when they've gotten too expensive. But Darden has always had a long-term view. And what worries me about this attack on Red Lobster and on the company's strategy of trying to spin it off is if the Wall Street investors are successful in stripping the assets out of the company, i.e. taking all the real estate value and kind of leaving a Red Lobster as a crippled food service company, they're not going to be able to maintain that leadership role. And a lot of the things that we take for granted in the broader seafood industry today, whether it's our commitment to sustainability, it's the transparency with which we want to conduct our business, it's the commitment to upholding standards about net weight and not using adulteration and so forth. All of these things come about because of the leadership of the kind of companies I mentioned and companies like Darden. And if they are financially crippled, it's going to be a lot harder for them to exercise this leadership. And if that happens, that's going to be a loss throughout the entire industry. We don't want to see a hollowing out of the seafood industry where it becomes harder and harder for the legitimate players to compete against the tide of adulterated products, of false claims, skirting the law, and all the other things that happen when people are forced into a desperate competitive situation. So for the long run, I hope that the Darden board holds firm, that they execute a good strategy and don't get spooked by these Wall Street attacks. In Lexington, Mass., this is John Sackton.
Today's SeafoodNews.com video was brought to you by the Alaska Seafood Marketing Institute. Alaska has been protecting wild and sustainable seafood for generations and adheres to the most recognized and internationally accepted set of guidelines written by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. For recipes and additional information, visit wildalaskaflavor.com.